Hey, before I start the show, I want to say that recently the new Spider-Man game is out and is getting great reviews. It's becoming a phenomenal hit for a superhero game since the Arkham series, right? So I guess my question is one, why are we not seeing a lot more superhero games lately? Two, will we ever see any more superhero games that maybe they're not based on the main popular heroes? And then my last question for you guys, just for a little bonus in your mind, is what superhero games would you guys like to see in the future? Let's start the show. And welcome to the In-Game Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, a.k.a. your retro activist, a.k.a. your in-game boss. And this is the normal podcast that you hear in my office in this studio. And we're actually, funny part is that this studio is right under the podcast, down in the, where the hot lavas and the ghosts and all the minions are. That's my office down there. I like to kind of be alone to myself, get my stuff in there. But once in a while, I get people coming in my office, my mini bosses, and, they got to come down there. Sometimes they have to jump over the lavas to get to me. But anyways, so my guest for this one is, well, he's not a guest anymore. Once you've been on there once in a while, you kind of just you come a regular to me. But this person on the show that's coming in, you heard him before from our single player episode. He is my mini boss now, and he'll be on here mostly regularly. Not every time, once in a while. It will be a rotation of other guests along with Travis Hanna and John Robles. But everybody say hello to one of my mini bosses, Curtis Scism. How you doing?
Hello, doing well.
Good. And Curtis is a bit of he's a bit of simple man. He's very not shy. You're just very simple. You're more like, man, I'm just having fun. I'm having a good time. Let's do things. So, Curtis, tell them a little about yourself real quick as a mini boss by telling everybody what is your favorite action game.
My favorite action game, Arkham Knight, Arkham City. It's about to get dethroned by Spider-Man.
Oh,
like in my head, I am just having this drag out fight of these two titles.
Mm-hmm.
I let me ramble really quick.
Okay. Make it quick.
Really quick about Spider-Man 4. Very good. It's unfortunately it's exclusive for PlayStation. Sorry, Xbox guys, but if you have both systems, I highly recommend Spider-Man PS4.
Okay. And I think that it's hard to compare to the Batman series right now because Spider-Man is not a trilogy yet. I think once you get a trilogy, then you can really put this together. And it's really unfair to compare it to the Batman because they are taking base off of Batman and they're involving it in a different way. And you can also see that compared to they have a God of War moments with the quick time events, all this kind of stuff that I noticed from the game. That doesn't exclude anything from that. I'm just saying that it's hard to compare something that takes it and evolves it a little bit more. So it's good to look at it as a trilogy and then just see where it goes from there.
You have to give your hats off to Marvel for letting Insomniac almost have free reign of changing the lore around, messing around with the story, changing the Peter is very fun. Peter Parker, those sections really steal the show.
Okay.
Away from Spider-Man sometimes.
We'll definitely talk more about that when we get into the main part.
The topic.
Yeah, the main topic when they go a little bit further down into the studio. But before we even start, we're going to get into our thing called News and Updates. So I'm going to let this music play out real quick while I get my stuff together. And Nintendo Direct, that is a thing. That's been a thing for like 2-3 years. They come what they want. They tell you what they have in mind. It's like an E3 on the go. It's like they're on tour, like during the year as E3, right? So basically, they show you a video. This is what we talk about. This is what's coming out. Be happy. Be ready. All this. But this one coming out that happened a couple of days ago, and on I think September 14th, is that they came in hard. Like most of the time on the directs, they will talk about this is the setup what we're going to do for this season. And the way they do their season is they go from now to January instead of just ending it December. Their way they do their cycle of game releases totally different than anybody else's. So they go from there. So a lot of games got announced. I'm just going to go down this list real quick. If you hear Navi say hey, she's probably telling me to speed it up a little bit. So hello. We got, of course, Animal Crossing got announced. for the Switch, we have Isabelle, one of the characters from the 3DS one. She is now a fighter on Smash Brothers. The Nintendo Online Switch, that's they're showing you everything about from cloud saves to your NES library to how you do chat, which I don't know why they did the chat. It's an app still. It's still an app on the phone. I don't know, Curtis. I don't know if I want to do like on the phone and still play with my friends. It's almost like I'll just do a PlayStation chat. I don't think I'll be fine with that. Everybody bring a Switch. But it's going to be $20 for a year. $3.99 for 1 month. I think it's $7.99 for 3 months. But you can do a family pack, which Curtis here, even though he's a mini boss, he has a little Koopalings running around. $34.99 for a family pack. So, and the funny part is, I love when they do family things like that because, like, I'm pretty sure you have to be rolling big if all your kids have Switches.
Yes.
Right. I feel like Switch, if you buy a Switch, it's more of like, it's for me. I'm not letting anybody else touch this thing.
Mine.
Right? And so, speaking of that, Luigi's Mansion 3 got announced. Totally didn't see that coming. Splatoon 2 got an update. So did Mario Tennis Ace. The Mega Man's back with 11. There's a demo out right now for the Switch, and I'm pretty sure for PS4 and all that. Check it out. There's an arcade bundle coming out called the Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle, and you're getting all the great Capcom Beat 'em Up games, like, you know,
Final Fight.
Yeah, Final Fight, all that stuff. Captain Commando, anything that's Capcom has touched it. Remember Super Mario Brothers U on the Wii U? Well, it's coming to the Switch now in the deluxe edition, and they introduced Toadette as a character now, and when she transformed to what looks like Princess Peach. That's not a conspiracy theory. Do not look that up. So, Calamari is getting a remastered or a remake for the Nintendo Switch. You know that game where, you know, you take this one thing and you keep rolling up until the whole world's in your hands. I'm pretty sure. Have you played that, Curtis?
I have not.
No. I heard it was a great game. Your partner Pokemon is amazing. They talked about more about the Pokemon Hey Pikachu, Hey Eevee, that series. They're talking about more about stuff you can do with your Pokemon. November is it September or November? I forget which one. But Diablo 3 is coming out this year, basically. And cool thing is you get a Ganondorf outfit. So check that out. Super Mario Party is finally coming out this fall, and they have a bunch of news coming out. Especially you could put two Switches together and play some games together. And literally, I mean, like they can touch, and it completes a whole map. That's nuts. Game Freak, you know, the people that did Pokemon, they have a new game called The Town, and basically that premise looks like that you're in control of this town and giant beasts have come in and you have to protect it. The game looks beautiful, Curtis. Please check it out. City Skyline. Everybody likes City Skyline. It's like Sim City, but now Sim City's not doing very well anymore. So now
if
City's
it's a thing,
yeah. So City Skyline's not taking over. But I've been waiting for this kind of game because this game is a simulation, and I know that people want to build cities, have it on a Switch on the go. And this edition comes out with all the DLC that pre-release came in. My most anticipated game, Daemon X Machina. It is a mech game. You customize mechs and save this galaxy on Mars. But fun news is it's now 4-player co-op. I'm very excited about that. And so, Civilization, you remember Civilization? That is another popular series. Now the 6th one is coming for the Switch. The new Star Fox game. I'm sorry. The new game introducing, you know, Star Fox called Starlinks has a new Star Fox mission along with all his buddies joining him. And you know, the more I look at that game, it's more like, okay, so how about here's the thought. How about we get them to make the next Star Fox game? Get them to do it. They're really good at that because it's an open world Star Fox flying around, saving missions. I think that's what people wanted. And if you can make that co-op, that'd be awesome. So let's make that. The World Ends with You is coming out this fall. I think it's coming out in October. I never got a chance to play the.
That is a very underappreciated, very underrated Square Enix game. It came out around the Kingdom Hearts era. On the DS. It was one of my favorite DS games.
Okay.
To this date.
Okay, so you need to get a Switch so you can play this new one because they added more features and stuff, and it's all nothing but touchscreen.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Switch is
all your attacks, your whole interface is done through the touchscreen. And
I heard they're doing a special bundle will come with a stylus. So, because I'm pretty sure you don't want your fingerprints all over it. I do recommend getting one of those screen protectors on there, and then you don't have to worry about, damaging your screen. Final Fantasy. world of Final Fantasies on this thing. Like, a lot. I can't go all through all of them. But your main ones is, one is from the GameCube era. It's called Crystal Chronicles. That is now coming for the Switch. Final Fantasy 7, 9, X, X2, and 12 is all coming here. And this is where I'm going to look at you, Curtis, because you're such a handsome guy. You're a huge Final Fantasy person. By the way, this has all come for Xbox One, so it kind of also disappointing news because I thought, oh, Switch is getting it. Oh, Xbox getting it too. But anyways, so Curtis, Final Fantasy, is this a big deal to you or not a big deal to you?
If you're a Nintendo fan, I think it absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
Square's kind of really kept Final Fantasy.
It's a ramble. I feel a ramble coming on.
Square's really kept Final Fantasy on Sony, especially the early titles. I am very happy. If you are a Switch fan, if you want to have, come on, greatest game of all time, let's see what you get. Okay, here's your chance.
Mm-hmm.
Ramble done.
I am excited that 12's on there because I never pictured 12 would be on there, and that's like a. I don't want to say it's not. It's an old game, but it's still a big game, and I thought, hey, 7, 9, those games are really small. I think that the Switch can be capable of that. But coming to the Switch, I might double dip because I have it on the PS4. And I'll double dip and get in there because Final Fantasy 12 is my favorite Final Fantasy game so far in the series. And so, but kudos for them for taking a chance to bring it over there. I think there's a huge debate in between to why wasn't this established earlier? This could have been out on that, I think, way earlier in this cycle. And then on top of that, where's Final Fantasy 7? Everybody like everybody's really getting upset by okay, this is great. Where is
the remake?
Yeah. Stop playing around. So for notes for Square Enix, write this down right now. Don't announce games if it's not coming like within 3 months or a year. Just don't do that. And I will talk about an episode about how Final Fantasy VII is one of the biggest teases in the gaming series and how that has not been working well with them. That's another conversation. I know you want to start that. We'll do that in another episode. But one thing that Square Enix did not surprise me is if we're getting a Final Fantasy, okay, on these things, why not Kingdom Hearts? People have been wanting Kingdom Hearts on the Switch. Where is it? Anyways, Smash Brothers is getting a hardware bundle edition with the Switch. It's really cool. The console itself, the thing you put your console on for the screen, has a special Smash Brothers thing, along with special skins for your Joy-Con. So, on 3DS, Kirby Epic Yarn from the Wii era is getting into this. Then Mario and Luigi Bowser Inside Story is coming to that with a new side story with it where... Okay, so I want to say this right now. On the Gamer Stand podcast... John Stone and I did the segment where Bowser should have his own game where he controls minions and it should be a strategy game. That still doesn't exist now, but I've slowly seen it somewhere and I'm pissed because it's like, just make it a strategy game. Just do it. Just do it. Check it out. So, and then of course you get the classic Luigi's Mansion from the
DS.
No, from the GameCube. GameCube going into this 3DS, and people are upset like, okay, why not put it on the Switch now that you're announcing 3?
Yeah.
Like, just do it. And then Yokai Watch. Never got into Yokai Watch. It is the next phenomenon in Japan, successor to, Pokemon. By the way, they're not created by the same people. I'm just saying, like, the popularity successor.
Very similar.
Yeah. So that's basically all the news that I want to throw at you, because we don't have a lot of time to discuss every single thing. But I will ask Curtis one question. Out of everything on this list I just mentioned to you that you remember, any games kind of
Mario Tennis Aces?
Okay.
Not trying to promote, but Matt Pat did a very interesting video about the power of the swing, about could it really break a tennis racket. It's insane. Nintendo is very, very realistic with their physics to some degree.
Okay, all right. And so now, my hype up game is Daemon X Machina. That's still my hype up game for that, and it's an indie game I'm really excited about. It's actually, fun fact, it's from one of the developers or one of the people that worked on the Armored Core series. So if you're an Armored Core fan, definitely check it out. Very animated, looks really cool, over the top, fun, 4-player co-op.
And Cities and Skylines, I'd get hyped about that too. I've wanted my fill for Sims. Lower, like SimCity Phil.
Curtis, when are you gonna get a Switch?
Need to save up.
Trade one of your kids in and get a Switch. Which one is your least favorite? I'm just kidding. So that's it on the news. What are the updates for the podcast and the network? Well, let me give you this. Right now, as we speak, we are now done wrapping up with the Gaming Halls Rivalries, so that will be premiering soon. By the time you hear this, it'll probably be not the week that you're hearing this one, but the next week. So think 2 weeks ahead, 2 weeks after this episode is premiered. So we're looking around maybe October. Mm-hmm. So it'll be back in October, along with Bond Never Dies. It will be back also in October. Probably 2 weeks after Game Halls Rivalries return. It's been a fun journey. Definitely check it out. Check out all the episodes. Please join us. Give us your opinions and everything like that. That's why Curtis is here. But Curtis is here because for another reason. But he's here because he's here. But then Area 44, we are talking about the Blackout, the Battle Royale for Call of Duty, Battlefield 5, and of course the Forsaken Destiny. Definitely check those out. I questioned John about Forsaken stuff, and I give my opinion on Battlefield and Blackout. So definitely listen to that episode. That episode is out right now. Please check it out. And then once again for Bond Never Dies. That's also in the update that it'll be back soon with part 2. Please listen to the first 6 episodes of Game of Halls Rivalries and Bond Never Dies, so you're caught up and you'll be ready for this next part of the show. Curtis, any inputs on the Game of Halls Rivalries you'd like to say?
Part 2 was very fun to record.
Would you compare it better than the first set?
No, there are definitely some gems in part 2.
Okay. All right. And so definitely check that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. And when I come back, we're going to go deeper into my office and talk about what happened to all the superhero games. We mentioned Spider-Man, but like any more coming? We'll be right back. Hey listeners, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, aka your in-game boss. And I want to let you know that this is not the only show you can listen to. We got great shows like the In-Game Boss Podcast, the Game of Halls of Rivalries, Bond Never Dies, and Area 44, and more to come. So if you enjoyed this show, make sure you follow and subscribe to the network so you're always updated with the newest episodes and update on any other news that happens in the In-Game Boss program. So, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Hey everyone, my name is John, also known as JRobles44, and I am the host of the Area 44 podcast. On Area 44, our goal is to create a hangout atmosphere where gamers come to talk about all things video games. If you want to know more about the podcast, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook by searching Area 44 Pod on both platforms. You can also email us at area44pod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
And welcome back to the In-Game Boss. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, with my mini boss, Curtis Scism. Now, we're down here a little bit deeper into the office where we're going to be talking about things that help save the world from chaos. You know, in our reality, we wish we can look out in the window and say, well, the world's ending. Where's our heroes? Because, superheroes and superhero video games has been a thing that's actually been around, but they've been coming and going very slowly. And the fact that it wasn't until probably around the PlayStation 2 era where the popularity started growing. Actually, I lied. PlayStation kind of did it.
Nintendo and Atari.
Honestly, yeah.
They kind of like dipped their foot in the water.
They dipped their foot, but it didn't really like blow up, I want to say. Like, and for people who are talking about like, hey, you know what? Super Nintendo and Sega had some games, Jeremy, and it was like, you're right, they did. And the most popular ones on there was X-Men. But the one that really pushed the big ones were later in the gen where the most popular, and there were some crappy superhero games out there, but that's beside the point. We'll get into that in a minute. Today's episode is about superhero games and where they're going. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is, how did superhero games got us into those games, and like what are some of the superhero games that we like? So Curtis, you actually brought this topic to me.
Yes.
That you like, Jeremy, I want to talk about superhero game because
Spider-Man 4 just dropped. We
yeah,
gotta do this.
So they're like, well, can we talk about superhero games? I'm in the mode. I'm not like superhero games because I'm like, because I was so early, like, man, I am all superhero.
Poor
out.
Jeremy gets this text message at 2-something in the morning.
Right.
Like, Jeremy, I'm playing Spider-Man 4. We got to talk about this right now.
Right
now. 2 weeks now.
and that's the day I was like, oh man, I am so superhero out. Like the Marvel universe is draining me dry. And so we're gonna be talking about some superhero games. So Curtis, why don't you talk about why you like superhero games so much and why does people love superhero games?
And kind of a homage to what Total Biscuit used to do, I will now ramble about why I love superhero games for under a minute. I love the immersion. I like the idea of be Batman, be Spider-Man, be this hero. Don't leave your couch. You get this experience. Back on the Super Nintendo, one of my first superhero games was Batman the Animated Series. Looked like the animated series, felt like it. You had the gadgets, you had the investigation. Let's jump 5 years to the PlayStation 1. Spider-Man came out. It was narrated by Stan Lee. It looked like a comic book. Each chapter had this beautifully colored comic book cover of that chapter. You teamed up with Venom. You fought, stuck to walls. 2002, Spider-Man 2, the movie game. The movie game, a licensed movie game that did not suck. That's a whole nother episode, maybe, about how I hate movie licensed games. I love Spider-Man 2. You had an open world. It felt like Grand Theft Auto, but playing as Spider-Man. Let's jump to the Arkham series. Yeah, we're jumping around. I'm hitting the highlights, folks. Arkham came out. You got Kevin Conroy. You brought back Mark Hamill as the Joker. It was the animated series voice actors. I grew up on that stuff, guys. I would come home off the bus, sit my ass down for 30 minutes just to watch that. And playing as Batman, being a proficient martial artist, it was like a game dream. And I never knew, at the time, we didn't know if there was going to be Arkham City, Arkham Knight. It was like, I'm playing this to death. I don't care. I'm playing this 3 times over now.
And time.
Yes.
Good job. No, yeah. So you basically got into superhero games because you like those
I like
characters
the
so
immersion,
much.
and I think video games and superheroes, there is a beautiful marriage between the two. Of, hey, this guy has powers, Mario has transformations. Hey, let's look at this guy.
And you want to relive those moments yourself as you saw in the cartoon.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
You're saving the day. I want to save a day.
You wanted to be Batman, go into a room of 20 guys and like, I'm gonna take you all out.
Exactly. No, I completely understand. For me, I didn't really get to dip into so much superhero games because I didn't watch a lot of superhero games or superhero shows growing up and everything. Now, Batman was granted because I watched the movies and I love the TV series and whatnot. But I didn't really get into, well, one, there's no good Superman games, so that's thrown out the window. But like the Batman games and the Spider-Man games were probably the longest series. Yes, X-Men is up there too, but Spider-Man and Batman I think had the most entries, I want to say. I feel like X-Men had their time between the Super Nintendo era and the 360 era, and that's it. As Batman has gone through at least touched one thing for each console, and so does Spider-Man since the Super Nintendo.
The time the X-Men really succeeded was the... if you go back in your gaming library on PlayStation 2 and Nintendo GameCube, X-Men Legends. That definitely kind of changed the map for X-Men games. It was a dungeon crawling with a team of X-Men. It was great. And that led to the birth of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which introduced more heroes. If you still have a PlayStation 3, go to GameStop, get Marvel Alliance 2, Ultimate Alliance 2. Very fun game.
So the first superhero game I ever played, and if you want to count as a superhero, you don't have to, but X-Men 2 was probably my first superhero game I ever played. And the fact that like you could choose any character and it was co-op, but that game was freaking hard. That game is not meant to play as co-op. That was just there to put it in there. I played that game recently by myself. Totally easier by yourself because it's one of those like, you can leave your other character behind.
Yeah.
That's terrible. And so like I would never play that game with a partner. Ever. But do you want to play that like after this? I don't want to play that again. I kind of want to play it now. But no, so X-Men 2 was my first one. And then from there, I end up playing some of the RPGs. Now, I played the Spider-Man game on the Super Nintendo. And I also played more of the Arkhams. The Arkhams was to me, that was my first. It was the game changer. It was my Batman game that at first, like, I'm not feeling Batman. Batman doesn't really make good
Batman
games.
doesn't hit that spot for
right,
me.
Right. I mean, I've seen the history books. The catalog's not looking good. I'm just not. No, I'm not
I'm
feeling
such
Batman.
a shameless whore. As soon as I heard Kevin Conroy, I was like, oh my god, I'm buying this. I don't care if you suck.
It took someone to tell me, Jeremy, you won't regret it. Mm-hmm. And he said, Jeremy, it's almost like a Metroid style. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. And that. It blew me away. It blew me away, not because of the Explorer, the fact that, like, the way you did the crime fighting scenes when you fought everybody, that it felt like that you saw the cartoon.
Hits.
Yeah, but the jumping over, doing the flip, it felt like what you see in the cartoon.
Yeah.
So shout out to Rocksteady for really digging deep in there. And that right there with the platform of almost every other game that ends up doing fighting with a bunch of baddies is from the Batman Arkham series.
Going on Rocksteady real quick, you can tell the difference between a studio that's handed something of, this is a quick cash grab, we need it out, movie comes out in months. Rocksteady took their DC let them take their sweet time, and you could tell the studio loved Batman. You can tell Insomniac loved Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. You can tell a passion project versus, oh my god, Activision, you've got a boom Spider-Man 2's coming, Amazing Spider-Man 2's coming out next week. Come on, guys,
right,
rush it along.
Right. And so Arkham now has set that bar up high. Like,
yeah.
if you do a superhero game, if you're not up to part of Batman, we're not even going to look at you. And that's where I see where Spider-Man at. Spider-Man knew somebody had to knew that we have to get it close to the Arkham and then make it our own thing.
And transcend, yeah.
Yeah, make it our own thing. Like, we don't want to be the clone of Batman. We can't have that. So what can we do to match with Batman, but also do our own thing? And based on what you have played, how did they accomplish that?
Yes, one of the biggest things when you saw gameplay trailers for Spider-Man was, oh my gosh, it's another Arkham clone. Yes and no. The combat is very similar, but Batman is a tank. Batman will bruise through people. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man's more evasive. You hit the counter button on Batman, he's going to grab the punch, rip the crowbar from you, and hit you with it. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man will evade out of the way, dodge, and do very acrobatic, your combo does not break, unlike in Arkham. Arkham, you have to constantly be hitting people. Spider-Man, you can dodge, jump over to this guy, webline, and your combo's still going. Mm-hmm. Very fluid.
Right.
Both are very fluid, but in different ways.
Mm-hmm. And of course, what makes it different is, though, and this wasn't until Arkham Knight came out where, well, no, I lied. It's Arkham City is where they give you the city.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And then, Spider-Man is straight, basically, Spider is more like, I am the city kind of feel.
Yes.
And I don't know how it is, like, when you're flying around and some random thing comes around and then you have to go solve that problem. I don't know how that world works.
If you ever wanted to experience life as a dual superhero, like, you have a main story objective. I need to go to the Feast organization, meet up with Aunt May and her party, and you hear this blood-curdling scream. It's a, oh my gosh, and you just deviate from your main quest to do this. Or you hear the police scanner. It's like, I could ignore this, but I would not want to do that as a player.
And we also know that when it comes to superhero games, that it's better when they do it that is not based on a movie.
Yes.
Or
they're being
cartoon
rushed.
coming out. Yeah. Because when you do some of the movie, you have a limited time and you're not able to really pull out your whole put out your whole creativity. And you're limited to the source based on what the movie source is. So, like, for instance, if this Spider-Man was based on the movie Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure, because Insomniac is known for putting gadgets and creativity into their stuff. I know Spider-Man has a plural of different gadgets and devices.
You literally have an inventory wheel of gadgets you can use in combat.
Exactly. The movies probably haven't have any of those gadgets that you saw in that game yet. So if you did it based on the movie, you have to limit yourself of these cool ideas that they have, and that sucks. And that's why sometimes, with the exception of Spider-Man 2, is why some of those games do not succeed very well. They do it just, for a cash grab, like you mentioned earlier. So now I'm glad that, these people are getting, here's our product.
Before we move on to the actual questions for the show. Sorry.
Yes, I do have questions.
Sorry, guys.
That's the thing, guys.
from north to south on Manhattan Island,
Mm-hmm.
it is 5,668 meters, in-game meters.
Okay.
It took me 4 minutes to traverse from north to south.
Okay.
You are hauling ass about, my friend Cameron and I calculated, he's going about 60 miles per hour with
Okay.
my current speed boost.
Okay.
That is a huge island.
Yeah.
You're going
I bet.
80 meters a second per swing, and they nailed web slinging. You just have this forward inertia. Whatever you are doing, unless you hit a wall or you just run to a complete stop, you naturally have this inertia to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
New York is your jungle gym.
So Spider-Man's out right now. Curtis recommends it. Play it. If
Highly
you're a Spider-Man
recommend.
fan, hell, if you're just a gamer fan, this game looks like it'll be fun just as a gamer. And watch out for the boat people. So let's go into our first question. So why are we not seeing a lot more superhero games lately? So Spider-Man has came out, but like the last year, I haven't heard anything from a superhero
There is
game.
a black hole between Spider-Man and Arkham Knight. There's just this giant black hole of superhero games.
And think about it, because we had the Marvel Cinematic going for 10 years. 10 years.
Yes.
Not one game from one of those
Other
series
heroes.
has came out. There's no Iron Man game only. There's no
Ant-Man or Doctor Strange.
Range. There is no just name a hero in there. We're the Black Panther game. There's no Black Panther game. And so like Disney, and the reason probably is because Disney announced a long time ago, ever since their Infinity games, that they were done making video games.
Yes.
But they'll license them, I guess. But I think they're not licensing them out as they're doing with Star Wars, right? Because they're like Star Wars for EA to do it. But
Now, if you remember, Marvel, when early in the phase 1 of Marvel movies, there were movie license games. There was Iron Man. There was Iron Man 2.
Right.
Thor had a video game. Captain America had a video game. And then it just stopped.
But was it owned by Disney, though, at the time?
No, not at
That's
the time.
the difference,
That's
right?
the difference, yes.
So, like, I don't know if Disney's holding on to those Marvels really close and, like, we're not doing games on there, but Star
The
Wars is fine, I guess.
only thing I can think of was Lego Marvel Superheroes and Lego Avengers.
Yeah. Which, you know.
Which are going to be good.
Yeah, they're good.
It's a
Good,
freaking
but they're
Lego.
spoofs, right? They're
Yes.
spoofs games, right? They're like the Austin Powers of Marvel games. But anyways, so why haven't? But why? Why are we not seeing any more games like that? Like, is it because it's hard to compare to the Batman series? People are afraid.
I think Rocksteady, as good as Arkham Knight is, made pressure on studios. There is such a high standard of it better be like this or it better be up to that quality. If we're gonna, okay, I went onto Google and if you want a game to be good, it has to be a triple game. It has to almost be that standard, and that's what I mean by high standards. You're dumping in $50 to $60 million. That is not chump change, guys.
Right.
And
I'm gonna say, though, in defense, depends on the hero that it
Yes.
costs that much.
yeah,
Because if you give a hero with a giant world to deal with, yes, like
Yeah.
Batman and Spider-Man and Aquaman, you know, Iron Man, all those kind of characters, yes. Little heroes, maybe cheaper, but not that much. And so, but yeah, like you said, AAA games, it has to be, and that's almost like a AAA game.
very risky. Yeah, and I think it's almost a possibly a niche. If you don't like Spider-Man, you're not gonna get Spider. If you don't like superheroes, you're probably not gonna get Arkham. You're not even gonna get Infamous. It's just like it's like a.
So here's my question: do you think it's maybe a lot of these heroes don't have enough material to be a full game? Is that a thing? Do you think so?
I think it's more the high cost risk.
You think?
That's what I think it is.
So you don't think certain characters in the series is like, is there enough material for this guy to make a full game on? You don't think that's the matter? You know, give me Robin. You think you can make a full game with Robin?
Absolutely,
Really?
absolutely.
Okay.
I think there is enough baggage there with the character's history, and I'm
talking about just Robin alone, though. I'm not talking about with the Titans with him.
I say you could do one
Okay.
around Robin.
Okay. What about like Luke Cage or yeah, see,
That's
there
what
we
it is.
go.
I made the face of
yeah. So I think that certain characters, in my opinion,
are limited.
can't do it. But some of those characters, you know, I think, like, for instance, Hulk, Hulk is fun, but Hulk feels like a game.
games.
Yeah, Hulk does have game, but it feels like
But he's so one note.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
the problem.
and I think that's the issue, and it's more of a game like it's fun to go smash around and then you're done.
Yeah.
But it's not a game I can come back to, like a Spider-Man game or a Batman game, like a Flash game. I mean, yeah, you're running all the time, but I don't know what all material you could do and make it a good Flash game. I think there is a Flash game out there. I just don't know how that works. Now, I know Flash has been in those fighting games and whatnot. But yes, I think the problem is, do we have enough material, and could this game be worth a AAA, upgrade to that, right? And so, but I think also the main reason is people are afraid to take a risk on icon characters, and they're afraid to take a risk on small characters that might not succeed. And that's sad, because I think besides your main cast, say the Justice League, there's a lot of characters out there, and I think that they deserve something. And I think if you can find a way to make them cool in their own way in that universe, it would be awesome. Most of the time when you do a group superhero game, it's mostly an overhead view of them all fighting. Marvel Alliance was a perfect example of that. X-Men Legends. It's always been when it's a giant group of people, they try to do it more of, here, we're going to put all these characters in there, but we're not going to make it fully blown, like graphically awesome. We're just going to kind of do an overhead view and everything like that. And so how come we don't have villain games? What happened to those? I want villain games. Like, tell me you don't want to be like the Doom, part of Doom, and do something cool with that. I think there's just a lot of materials there, but I think that's the main reason. So it costs and risk and material for the characters.
Yes.
So will we ever see superhero games that are not based on main popular heroes?
I have a funny answer for that. In the current, as of right now, no, but we have in the past.
For example?
I'm going to use Cole McGrath as an original character. Not based off any comic book, not based off of an existing license.
Okay.
But solely created by a Sucker Punch in the comic book vein and style.
Okay.
I think Infamous is a very good example of not an existing character, but they world built enough.
Okay.
And it was successful.
Okay. I think that we could, if somehow maybe you want to integrate a main star with it. So if you do a character based on the Batman universe, maybe have Batman come and help out at a certain point in the game. I feel like that when we do a game, you have to have someone beside them to help boost it up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's kind of like, unless you're strong enough. Like, for instance, like Spider-Man. Like, if you decided that you want to make a Spider-Woman game, I feel like that Spider-Man needs to be somewhere in that universe too. To make people feel comfortable. Like, well, is Spider-Man going to be in the game? Because most of the time when people play a game, they ask like, well, I'm in the same universe. Why is he not in this?
It reminds me almost of the last generation release, X-Men Destinies. You got to create your own mutant. The X-Men were there peripherally, and you got to join either the Brotherhood or you stayed with the X-Men.
And I think that's also too. I think we're getting to that point, like, you create your own character and you go into that universe, which is fine. But people like you want to play with the star in that game, right?
Yes, you want to be the star.
Right. Don't get me wrong. You can still get those games, but sometimes, like, I want to be the hero. I really do. I don't want to create my own character. I just want to be this hero.
I want to be Tony Stark. I want to be crazy rich and hop in this suit at any time in an open world. Like,
and that's another thing too is why how come, like, like we mentioned Iron Man. There's Iron Man games, but why would I get an Iron Man treatment like we would with Spider-Man treatment? Iron Man has enough material for that.
Yep.
I don't know why.
Why can't we have a competent Superman game?
Right, we had a Deadpool game that didn't work out, but we're leaning on more of the main cast. So like, based on the main ones, I guess is I think it's going to be a no, because we're in this point right now that we're still trying to make good games out of the main stars.
Yes.
And this is a sad thing, even in the movie world, because we'll never get our desires of stuff if we can't accomplish the main stuff first. So if you want all these cool characters, we got to make sure we do a good Batman game. We got to make sure we make a good Superman game. We got to make a good Wonder Woman game. Why? Because they're still the most popular people, and it's sad. It's really sad. It's almost like you have to put a non-popular character in their universe to get them popular, then make their own game after that, right? And that's maybe something they should do in the future. Like, if they make another Batman game, maybe put a lot of unknown characters to throw in there, like the unknown.
Yeah,
like have Batman maybe help out with certain heroes in that world that come to Gotham, and he helps them out, make them big, help them fight with him.
Going with original here, I will hit back on Sucker Punch. They literally caught lightning in a bottle. They gave Cole McGrath his origin story. They gave him a superhero origin. They gave him motivation. Gave him really cool electrical powers. All the things that you could do with the environment. Recharge your health by sucking energy from a transformer or a car battery. Really cool aspects. God, I love it. Sorry, guys.
I can tell. But yeah, you're right, because originality superheroes are very scarce nowadays.
And they did it again too with Infamous Second Son. I liked Infamous Second Son. I liked that game.
No, it's fun, but the character was not cool.
Yeah.
Smoke. All right, go on.
Yep.
No. The game. Look. Granted, I'm not a big fan of that game, but the mechanics is still good.
Was very solid.
Good. Yes, it's still a good game. It was just not my cup of tea. And I think that's what we have to make sure. And this is what I tell everybody in gaming: just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not a bad game. Okay. And so you have to look at it like that. So if that one was good, but I was not a fan of that particular title in the series. And so, but back to your originality superhero characters. I mean, I can't think of anything really infamous. Now we have people that have superpowers, but we never have anybody like help save the world. I mean, you want to count Prototype? No, he did bad things. He did bad things. The guy, it's not a superhero. They were trying to stop him. He was an animal, so we don't really get a lot of those. I wish we get more superhero games where people can put more of the originality in there. Like Nintendo does not have a superhero game of their own. They don't have their own superhero.
Yeah,
that would be wonderful to see. Like them create their own superhero to do something. I don't care if he's the goofiest. I expect it to be goofy.
That would be a great IP for Nintendo.
Xbox, who's their superhero? You know what I mean? Like none of these consoles really hit on that landmark. Like they'll hit you got your sci-fi heroes, you got your goofy heroes, you have your knight heroes, all this stuff, but we don't have like a superhero, and I think that's what we need. I think every console, every publisher, almost Nintendo, PlayStation, Sony, should work on give me one good superhero. Yes, Infamous is one, but Infamous is done. We need to make a new one.
Yes.
And it could be, and I know it could be a lot of arguments about, well, there's way different definitions for superheroes. I mean, Ratchet and Clank are basically superheroes. They're saving the galaxy. It's like, yeah, I understand that. So I guess I'm going to have to go a little bit detail. I want a new superhero game that involves saving people in a city. A traditional superhero game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a superhero game I want. And so, but what is your last take on original superhero games? Like anything that you would like to see, maybe a female superhero?
Yes.
When's the last time you seen a female superhero game?
Oh gosh,
where is a female superhero game? There is none to exist. I would love to.
The only thing I can think of is Catwoman on the PS2.
Right. So I think that's what I want. I want an original superhero female character.
Yes.
I think that would be just so much fun, and I want it more like she didn't know she has powers. Because we don't get a lot of games where we're discovering superpowers.
Yes.
We just go in, we already have the powers. How awesome would that be to me? I lied. Infamous did it, but it was in cutscenes. But I want it where you're John Q. You're doing you got hired to go do something. Maybe it was a trap. You end up getting powers. Now you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to do with it. I think that would be super cool. So that goes into our very last question: what superhero games will we like to see in the future? So any superhero in the universe, Curtis, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you have one made up. All right. What heroes
out of the existing heroes?
Yes.
I would love a Black Widow stealth game.
Black Widow. Okay. So how would that look?
Almost like when I think Black Widow, I almost think Solid Snake too, like that
Okay.
kind of espionage, that
Okay.
kind of stealth.
I can see that.
Capable in combat, but that's not going to be the first thing she's going to do. The first thing she's going to do is be invisible, in and out, not even know that I'm there.
Okay.
Low impact.
I want an LA noir style with Telltale's decision making based on the character of the unknown. Mm-hmm. That's what I want. The unknown is one of my favorite characters because he's more like a detective, but he's a superhero too. He puts on a fake face that has no face on it. I want that. I really do. I do really want that. What else you got over there?
Daredevil, I think, would be
Daredevil. He can't even see the game.
That's true.
It's
It's funny.
Kidding.
In my
I'm just
notes,
kidding. Go on.
in my no, you kind of hit it right on. If you look at my notes, I have Daredevil open world. Then I have it scratched out. Then I really kind of tried justifying myself because he can't see. But it's like, but it would still be interesting. I would like a Daredevil game.
Silver Surfer would be a pretty cool game. Silver Surfer has been off the maps in the NES because that one was terrible. But him just an open galaxy world, never happened before.
Yes.
No Man's Sky meets an action game, maybe. I don't know. This is him and Finding Galactica. Just giant beam from space, right? That'd be kind of cool.
And it wouldn't be a Curtis guest star without mentioning Dynasty Warriors. I would like maybe a Marvel Warriors game.
Marvel
Or a
Warriors
DC
game. Okay. So you would use like the big stars still, or would you use a little bit of both?
I would use both. I would utilize other C-list characters.
Okay.
DC heroes in the vein of like a Dynasty War. You could use Booster Gold. You could use the unknown members of the Justice League.
I would like to see a Cable game.
Yes.
Based on time traveling and what you do from one world, change it. That's what I would love to see. I think Cable deserves a game. Maybe it'll happen now that he's in the Deadpool universe. So I would like to see that. Another character I would like to see is
Wonder Woman.
No, not Wonder Woman. No, Wonder Woman feels like a cop out of like someone says, "Okay, we need to make a superhero game with a woman in it."
There we go.
Wonder Woman. Yeah. I feel that's a cop out answer, and I don't accept that. Booster Gold. I want a Booster Gold game. I want it to be goofy, funny, because his story is hilarious. Because the fact that he's in the future, he steals an outfit, a superhero outfit, and goes back in time to be a hero back then. That's like any guy's dream come true, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I want that. I I also want. I think his name is Captain Adams or Super Adams or something like. He's the gentleman right here with the giant suit with a red star on it. I think he would be cool because like I'm really kind of get into more of like let's explore the galaxy superhero kind of games, like
the unfamiliar, the
unknown.
Yeah.
I'm kind of done with Earth. Like let's go there. Let's see. Give me a world where I can hop planets and give me sandboxes in each planet to go explore and be hero in.
The one, and I like that. I like your commentary on that. The one nitpick I have about Spider-Man is deep down I feel like it is an absolute HD remake of Spider-Man 2 the movie game,
Really?
but really polished, and all my complaints have kind of been fixed of that game.
Okay. I can understand that. Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're gonna make a Spider-Man game, you would use Spider-Man 2 as a blueprint.
Okay.
But I do like your idea of exploring somewhere off Earth.
Yeah, I think we just
Different messing around with gravity, different atmosphere too.
I mean, they tried to do a Green Lantern, but it didn't work out.
Yes.
Take the ring off. So, but yeah, I really want that export, and I just want new game mechanics. Like, I think that's also a thing too. Is why don't we just do a new style of gaming? Why do we have to do the cut and paste, big world, do these action? Like, give me something fresh. Like, you could do a Teen Titan game, but make it where, the decision I make can make a difference, but still an action game kind of per se. Let me involve with my characters a little bit more on the decision way. Like, the characters I pick should change the pathway to the end of my end of this journey, depending what character I pick out of the Titans or something like that.
Team up, choosing who you have on your team interacts differently. I'll hit back on Ultimate Alliance 2. Ultimate Alliance 2 had what was called fusion attacks. Take Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, the Incredible Hulk. She makes this giant invisible orb around him, and he just pile drives through everything. He just rummages through everything. Gambit and Storm. She makes a tornado. Gambit charges up 2 decks of cards, throws them in the tornado, and they just scatter shot everywhere. Those were some of the really coolest attacks and combinations of powers I have ever seen.
Now I know this is weird, but if they can pull it off, maybe if we can do a different generation of how we do these heroes. So like, if you can make a awesome video game based on only the material that the 60s had to offer for a superhero. I think that would be kind of interesting. Like, picture Superman in the 60s in a video game. Like, create a giant world what it looked like in the 1960s, and Superman looking like what he would look like in the 1960s, and that music and everything. I think it'd just be so cool just to see that high. I'm a fan of people taking games from old history and making them look brand new. Like Bioshock Infinite does a really good job of making this game look like it's the 1920s, but it's a spin on it.
Yes.
And I know it's possible, so it'd be kind of cool, like, let's see what a Batman world would look like in the 60s or the 70s. Let's make games based on different eras of this, because these superheroes been around since the 20s. Let's see what it was like at that time. I know that's weird, but I would like that a lot. Does that intrigue you at all?
It's interesting.
Yeah, I kind of want that. Yeah, I think I want that too. I want the Galaxy, but then I want y'all to take superhero games and throw them in a different era. And I'm not talking about like a parallel era. Like, what if this was steampunk? I don't want that. Like, show me what an 80s Batman would look like.
Yep.
Show me what a Green Lantern in the 60s would be like. Show me a Spider-Man in the 1920s. Like a noir Spider-Man. I don't know. Get weird. I realize that I like weird games a lot because they stand out the most, and they're easy to remember if you do it right. That's the problem when you do stuff like that, because if you mess up, you're going to be the laughing stock of your life. But if you could pull it off, I think you'll be up there at the Arkham to me. You're doing something up there that's totally different, but you're up there with Arkham to me.
Yes.
Because that's the thing about Arkham to me, was Arkham was not just a Batman game. Take the title away from it. The mechanics and the ideas is what it made it what it is. You could throw any superhero into that thing and you will still get the same results because it was the mechanics that set the bar.
The investigation aspects of Arkham Knight was really cool.
Yeah.
Analyzing a crime scene, rewinding, seeing what happened, using deductive reasoning of why this guy landed over here. Oh, something flew, something hit this wall.
Exactly.
What was it?
Exactly. So like, you really, for superhero games, you have to look at what mechanics and what it does. Like, you can tell that, yes, they love Batman, but they also look at it as like, what are the 3 most important things that Batman does, right? So when you do a superhero game, you need to look at what are the most important aspects that made him what he is. And I think that's why it's so hard to make a Superman game, because Superman doesn't do anything outside of, I wait for action to happen, I go solve it. He doesn't go do investigations. He doesn't really question people, because he's too busy making identity. And if you're not going to merge that in there and you're just doing Superman alone, you're just flying around. You're bored.
Yep. Going back to Spider-Man, it is so... Because I try to play the character. I try to keep that mind of great power comes with great responsibility. And yeah, you have this objective. I want to progress the story. And you get on the police scanner that there's an assault happening. It's like, okay, I am going to go. You really feel like Peter Parker of, I've got to do this. I cannot be late to my job. My payment is due. I'm going to get evicted. But this poor woman is getting assaulted, or man's getting assaulted in Central Park. There's a drug deal. There's a hit and run accident. I was literally 30 meters away from progressing the story. And this car there's a high-speed pursuit. It's like, damn it.
Right.
And shout out to Yuri Lowenthal, the voice. I did not know if you have a hands-on experience with Spider-Man. He says his lines twice. There's a calm, he's like, hey, Aunt May, I'm on my way. I'll be there as soon as I can. And then when you're web swinging, he's like, hey, Aunt May, I'm on my way. Like, you can hear him exerting himself. They have an exerted recording when he's web swinging or running, and then there's a perched voice. I think Yuri Lowenthal is a very underappreciated actor. He's known for Sasuke from Naruto. I cannot believe having to record your lines twice. Okay, now you're swinging. Now you're doing something. Say that same exact line, but pretend.
Hey, that comes with the territory, right?
Yep.
And just like Spider-Man, he has responsibility.
I needed the motion capture.
And there you go.
Yep.
Just like he has responsibility, I have a responsibility too. And my responsibility is to end this show. I am so sorry. We have to end this show because we don't have a lot of time. And we were web slinging everywhere. Well, Curtis was web slinging. I was kind of down the street, kind of reading the paper like, are you done?
Curtis, the D writer
right,
of the
right.
podcast.
It's like, are you done? Okay. Anyways, so I want to thank everybody for coming in to listen to the show. Curtis, thank you so much for coming in as a mini boss
you for
once
having
again.
me.
Of course, and thank you for bringing up the topic of the superhero era in the games and enjoying the hell out of Spider-Man.
I'll try not to text you at 2 in the morning.
Right. No, I'm just gonna throw my phone against the wall. Put it on silent. That's better. That's better answer. Yeah. Let's do that. But remember, this is part of the In-Game Boss program, a network of gaming and other variety shows. Just shows like Area 44. Game Halls of Rivalries, and Bond Never Dies, but there's more shows on the way. I can't tell you them yet, but I can't wait to show them when I'm ready. But anything you have to say, you can always email me at the ingameBossOffice@gmail.com. And Facebook and Twitter are a really good place to reach me too and chat with me and talk about what you like and dislike about the show or the network or whatever. And we do a show called Game Halls of Rivalries, of course, so definitely check it out. We are about to wrap up the show on that one, but not over. Please listen to all of them. They're really good. And you can find all these shows on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. So please check all of those things out. And with all that, I will definitely catch you on the next episode. Stage clear. Let's go.